ever a pantheon of great investors is to be made, one name will always be on the pedestal. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala of Rare Enterprise. 18 months ago, on the same forum, he told us that a secular bull market lies ahead of us. A year ago, he endorsed that a secular bull market has started. And exactly 6 months ago, he flagged off that an inevitable and mother of bull market has dawned on us. I have with me the man himself. Mr. Jhunjhunwala, thank you for joining us. A table thumping applause to you, sir, for a great market call.
Thank you so much, Nikunj, but I would like to point out both to you and your readers, and I'm not only trying to be humble, that see, when a person has been constantly right, the ratio of him, then being wrong is very high. And I'm not saying this only to appear to be humble. So maybe yes, I have been right in the last 1.5 years. Let's hope that I'm right in the future. But please be warned that constantly being right is not what any human can achieve.
Well, you've been right. You've been right more than you've been wrong less. So I guess the ratio lies with you.
Yeah, maybe, but
okay.
Anyway, I would like to warn the readers.
Okay. With that warning, my first question to you is that 2014 has been a dream year for Indian markets. On all counts, we've got re-rated. A stable government, macros are in place. But my question to you is that somewhere are you getting a sense that markets have run slightly ahead of the real economy?
Well, markets always anticipate. Now the question is, markets are anticipating that there will be good economic performance, especially the old economic companies will bounce back. Now it's a matter of, only time will tell us that whether the markets have been right or not. My personal feeling is that there could be some delay in the markets, in events actually panning out from the time market is expecting it. But I think the economic performance in India is going to surprise everybody.
In your own words, you've always told me that bull markets, they always climb the wall of worry and they come down on ray of hope. There's a lot of hope. India is a crowded trade. India is a favorite trade. Is that a concern?
I don't think India is a crowded trade or India is a favored trade, because if you see the ratio of institutional money that India can attract, I think there are so many people who have not invested in India as yet. And forget the foreign investors, what is the local money which is coming? In a country which is going to potentially save $1 trillion, you don't have $5 billion coming to the market. So, in these circumstances, 0.7 or 0.5% of Indian household wealth is in equity. So therefore, how can we say it's crowded? Just because markets have gone up doesn't mean the trade is crowded.
I was just talking about global EM allocations.
But, there have been good allocations, but I think there is scope for far, far greater allocation subject to economic performance. And with the fall in price, I think India is the primary beneficiary.
So oil clearly is the big story for the moment, and there is a chaos in the oil market. The world's biggest commodity has seen a vertical price drop. Do you think this could lead to a temporary disruption in financial markets, maybe political crisis going forward?
See, I'm not an expert on international matters, but Russia with $475 billion of reserves, right, and the oil price having not really fallen in ruble terms. People are talking Russia will default. Why should Russia default? Russia will have difficult economic conditions undoubtedly, right? But that doesn't mean that Russia is going to default. And oil at $60 per barrel is also very profitable for Russia. It's not as if they're incurring losses. And there are a lot of US Western interest in Russia, a lot of Western investment. So, any kind of sudden change does bring disruptive thought. But that doesn't mean that disruption is going to take place. I mean, most oil fields in the world are extremely profitable at $60. I've seen repeated chairman of shale, companies that they are profitable at these levels. So there will be some kind of, but that always happens in any market. I don't think that oil at $60 is going to create that kind of chaos as people are predicting.
So world's biggest commodity has fallen, but world's biggest economy is making a comeback. US economy is now growing at 5%. If I add inflation back, it's about 6% plus. What does that mean for the world? The world's biggest engine is now humming.
Well, it means that the world has to learn from America. They are dynamic, open, technologically very savvy society. See, the free markets are working there. They are an open liberal society. So I think that's what is important. I think even the shale revolution has played a very big role in that growth.
Could that have an impact on flows? Could that have an impact on the way we would judge, future growth rate, given the way how US has bounced back?
Well, it could have a very big positive effect on Indian software industry because America is the primary market, and if America grows well, I think IT spending will rise. I think that's what I would reduce, and also there's a lot of other items which US imports not only from India but from the rest of the world.
You're a man who knows his numbers, and assuming that this bull market started last year, when Nifty was at 5,500, by 2020, what kind of Nifty or Sensex level we could be staring at? It's 5 years, 6 years up actually.
Well, see, it's very difficult to predict. I only say one thing, that we are maybe a little above a historical average in terms of P's. And price or value is equal to earning per share multiplied by P. Now, I think, look at it this way, that we were the total profits of the corporate sector in 2003 were about 4% of GDP. They went to as high as 9%, right? Suppose we have 13, 14, 15% nominal GDP growth, or maybe 14%. So if profits grow at 14%, the percentage of corporate profits to GDP doesn't go up. So what kind of, it went from 4% to nearly 9%. You require 24, and if there's a true bull market, corporate profits as percent of GDP will go up, right? And therefore, how you need 20 to 23% earnings growth in order that figure of 4% of GDP grows to 6% or 5% or 6.5% in the next 5 years. So, if price is equal to EPS multiplied by P, and if I were to say that next 5 years earnings growth in India say 20% on average, I'm just assuming a figure, or say is 18%. In 4 years earnings will double by a rule of 72, and if P's are to improve say by 30%, so in the next 3 years you can see a Nifty, or a next 5 years you can see a Nifty or a Sensex which is 3 times present values. The question is, are we going to have that earnings growth?
So which is my next question. Will we have that earnings growth? I'm not challenging your Nifty or Sensex target, but I'm certainly curious.
No, you should challenge. What's wrong in that? What is the reason? See, I have no basis to say that no, it will not happen. But what is the basis to say why it will not happen? Right? See, we are in a cyclical and structured uptrend. Our economy faced great challenges last year. Right? We did not loosen our springs. We cut down expenditure. We let the rupee find its own level. Right? Therefore, we are now in, clearly economy is undertaking. We don't know how much we are going to grow, but the worst is over. We are in a cyclical uptrend.
If I just look at the current setup, large part of the growth for the Sensex or corporate growth is coming in consumers, it is coming in pharma, it is coming in IT. Those sectors are looking slightly toppy. P multiples are stretched, margins are stretched. Can they grow? Can they contribute to the growth?
I don't think margins are stretched. I think margins of the pharma industry in India will improve over a period of time. IT, I don't know. I think IT, my personal feeling is that margins may have peaked. But there is constant growth. And everything in the market is not equally or fairly or evenly valued. That is why there is opportunity in the market. But look at the other sectors where there is so much, I won't say there's undervaluation, there is so much scope for improvement in performance. You look at any of the old economic companies where they got volumes, right? Look at the way the profits have gone up. So you have large unutilized capacity. When that capacity gets utilized, the contributions are going to be extremely high, right? And if you have the kind of growth that I dream and envisage, the kind of consumer demand that will come up is unbelievable.
Now, in August 2013, we were talking about valuations, and you said valuations are so attractive that ऐसा लग रहा है चोरी का माल मिल रहा है. What's your take on valuations?
Well, obviously, market is more expensive than it was in August 2013, but that doesn't mean there is not opportunity. But I must tell you one thing very frankly, that having risen from 5,200 to 8,500, right, it's a rise of 3,300 points. Markets could correct, but I think any correction, in my opinion, would be an opportunity.
So what is the screen telling you? I know you're a great screen reader. When you trade, you don't have a template. You invest with your gut. You invest with your instinct.
Well, the screen is not saying that there will be any major correction. Right, because today also, although the Nifty scripts didn't do well, the side market was good. When both of them go down in unison, I think that's when the real correction will start.
We've seen two dinky corrections this year. a 3-4% correction in October, another 4-5% correction in December. Do you think we are done with the excesses in the market?
See, in a bull market, the excesses are always there. They will remain and they will accentuate. Right? So don't think that the bull markets, there are no excesses and the excesses will correct. The excesses will correct only after the market is over, after the bull market is over. But you can always find opportunity where you think that these valuations are right, or these things, stocks will go up.
But in general, is there scope for a strong pre-budget rally this time around?
Well, there's always scope for a rally. Whether it will take place or not,
Are you betting on it?
I don't know. The budget is still away.
But as of now, you think that the market fabric is safe and one should not get perturbed by the price action we've seen 10 days ago?
Well, we shouldn't get perturbed, but we should be careful. We should watch the screen with big eyes and be alert.
I'm not going to get into what you're buying or selling, but directionally, are you happy to stay long in this market on your trading side?
Absolutely. I am long.
Just to get a sense of the market behavior, if I look at the market behavior, the market action is split right in the middle. The HULs and the Nestles and the Colgates of the world, they are expensive on all count, on all yardstick, but they are not coming down.
Well, I think the market is paying an abnormal premium for quality. But the question is, there are very few quality stocks left. And where people have been hurt in stocks which have question marks, they have been hurt so badly that maybe those stocks may be offering opportunity.
Last time when I interacted with you about 6 months ago, you made a very interesting point. You said in a bull market, P's don't contract, P's only expand. Consumers, well, the P's may not expand, but in a bull market, where to your mind is the strongest case for a P expansion?
Obviously in the old economy.
When you say old economy?
Because I think old economy stocks, there are a lot of instances, in a lot of states, the P's are already very high, but there is a big scope for EPS growth. It may be still a year or 18 months away, but surely expansion in earnings for the old economy, pharma and software and consumer is growing at 15-20%. But consumers also, I think there can be big growth in earnings if consumer demand bounces back. There can be really good growth in earnings.
When you say old economy, I'm assuming you're talking about cyclicals. You're not talking about industrials, because industrials always appreciate with the lag effect.
I'm talking cyclicals and industrials both.
So you're confident that the old economy part, and just for the benefit of our viewers, when we say old economy, engineering companies, construction companies, machinery companies, they will come back.
Absolutely. I mean non-pharma, non-software, non-FMCG.
That's the part which will surprise you going forward.
I think the earnings could. How much the earnings are priced in, I don't know.
7 months is a short time to judge any government and judge any government's performance. But the kind of measures the Modi regime has taken, a blueprint on GST, coal auction, diesel price deregulation, are these heartwarming measures, or were you expecting something more?
Well, I am most positive because they are not being bombastic. I think they have a action plan in mind. It's going to take time. Even the real effect in Gujarat was felt only after 2 years when Mr. Modi became Chief Minister, right? And see, they could have sounded bombastic, they will do this, will do that. They are going at their own pace. See, this makes me most happy. What makes me most disappointed is everywhere I'm asked this question, what do you think of the government, what do you know Mr. Modi? What we as Indians are ready to do, what have we thought that as Indians we should contribute so that this country should prosper? Are we going to pay better taxes? Are we going to be more civil in our acts? Are we going to contribute our time for the good of the country? We just Indians want to question Mr. Modi and his government. But I don't think any of us have resolved or sat back and thought that what should we do so that this country could prosper. Having said that, I am very happy with the performance. We live in a democracy, democracy has its own challenges, and they are working to a scheme, and a lot of people say he's lucky, oil prices come down. I think we Indians are very extremely lucky because, when Napoleon was asked whether he wanted lucky or smart generals, he said he wanted lucky generals. I'm happy we have a smart, lucky and smart general.
For last 5 years, we've seen a regime in which inflation has gone up. Now we could be staring at a regime where inflation is going to come down, both structurally and cyclically. How will that change the market behavior?
First of all, I think most important lead to higher savings. And higher savings will lead to higher growth. Second thing is it will have wage increases will be real. Right? It'll put demand, it'll put power of, the demand. And then it will reduce because interest rates will come down, it will reduce the hurdle rates for investment. And it will reduce the discounting rate for stock market, so P's will go.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a multiple effect.
Let's get into IT. Now, IT is growing, but IT is a mature business.
Yeah.
Can it grow? Can it surprise us?
I mean, there are expectations, so surprise is difficult, but I think it will grow at 15-20%.
Mm-hmm. Why do you say that?
Because see, the application of information technology is going up, and Indian IT companies are capturing market share every year. And I think a lot of people say linear growth, this, that. I think the bigger the companies are getting, the more efficient they are getting.
Some of our common friends have told me that just like you were bullish on retail a couple of years ago, then you were bullish on the Indian generic opportunity, now you're bullish on defense manufacturing. Is that true?
Yeah, but I'm bullish. I'm very bullish on defense manufacturing. It is my prediction that after 10-15 years, India will be a big exporter of defense products. So I'm bullish on defense manufacturing.
You think we can achieve something in manufacturing? We've not achieved anything big in manufacturing at all for decades.
Why? Bajaj Auto is exporting $1 billion worth of motorcycles. With the kind of constraints we have, right? So there are segments of manufacturing where we can do extremely well. And also see, to create an export opportunity, there has to be a big home market. So we are going to be a big home market for defense products, right? And we have all these skills, engineering skills, the technological skills. So why cannot we be big exporters?
So
we are also already launching satellites for French and American companies.
So you're bullish on the ability of the manufacturing sector. The Made in India campaign, to your mind, truly fits.
Absolutely. Undoubtedly.
Getting land is a problem here. Our labor laws clearly are not very friendly. Can manufacturing survive?
Why not? And why do you think, I don't understand what is getting land is a problem. Do you think the industry is right to get land free? If I'm putting up an industry which costs pretty 1,000 crores, instead of 10 crores, I pay 40 crores for the land, does the project become unviable? Why is it that industry can be put only on acquired land? Industry can be put on bought land. Why do you think that industry can only be made on land which is acquired by government? Tomorrow you can go and buy land and make a project. So I think this thing that land can be acquired only by industry, cannot be acquired, is a myth. Okay, if you want to build a highway, you want to build a railway line, you have to crisscross certain, land which is required. You want to build a dam. There is a difficulty in industry. I don't understand what is land here. Pay for it and get on with it.
But if I look at your portfolio, again, public information, no insider information, it's public domain. Titan, United Spirits, Lupin, you've been holding on to these stocks for years, and I'm sure you will hold on to these stocks for years. But these are expensive stocks. Can they give you double-digit returns on a CAGR basis?
No, but that doesn't. Well, they can give me double-digit returns 100%. If earnings, they will give me a return which is commensurate with earnings growth. See, there's no scope for the P's to expand, but there is scope for earnings to expand.
Lupin has 32% margins.
So what? Sun Pharma has 45% margins. Why don't you question that?
No, but can it still grow? It's a very competitive
market.
But
volumes can grow and margins can grow.
You're confident that a big business like Lupin could grow?
I'm 100% confident it will grow. See, Lupin has had a tremendous run. It has gone up. In 2008, I think the price was 700. Today, the price is 7,000. I don't know, Lupin could be 2,000 tomorrow. Lupin could consolidate for next 2 years. But I'm not going to tomorrow keep Lupin with I don't know, it will be 2,000 in 1 year or it will be at this level. But I think as a company, Lupin has got a lot of scope to grow still. And they're doing, I think it's a very well managed company.
You're a big picture investor. When you invest, you don't look at a PE, you don't look at 1 quarter, you don't look at 5 years. You made 2 large investments in MCX, directly and indirectly. You've invested in the commodity trading business, which is a regulated business. Can the upside kick in for it?
In a commodity trading business? I'll tell you one thing. I think MCX is a proxy for India's financial sector, India's growth. You know, people also used to buy State Bank of India, right, as a proxy to India's financial sector. I bought CRISIL because CRISIL was unique, right? Similarly, MCX is unique. I don't think, I mean, it's highly unlikely that in the next 50 years also, MCX leadership of the commodity market is going to be taken away. And if India's economy grows, free cash flow, right, no investment needed, difficult monopoly to break, volume is going to go through the roof. I think it's a proxy to India, India's economic growth and India's financial sector.
When you bought Dewan Housing Finance, it was dirt cheap, sub-book. It has gone up, but it is still very cheap.
Well, let me not comment on the individual valuation of stocks.
Are you bullish on HFCs in general? Is the big
I'm
picture
very
looking
bullish.
very strong?
I think the best part of the housing sector, of the whole finance sector, in my opinion, is housing finance.
But why is that sector, so varied? One side you got Graham Finance, 10 times book. Dewan Housing Finance, 1 time book. So we all know the opportunity, but the sector valuations are so divided that it is unreal.
See, markets do what they want to do. If you disagree with the market, right, you buy DHFL, time will say. You know, I don't know why the difference is there. I only know one thing, the difference was wider 1 year ago, the difference is narrowed.
So the difference is an opportunity actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Titan today is trading at valuations which are actually less than Flipkart. It's quite amazing.
See, there's not to question why, there's but to do and die, right? I am very bullish on e-commerce. But I think I don't know of any evolved business model. No great organizations or companies have been built with investors' money. They're all 99.5% of the money invested finally is the surpluses of that business. There is no surplus, there is no evolved business model, right? They are selling things at loss. So I don't know, I'm very bullish on the volumes, but I cannot figure out how they'll be profitable and when they'll be profitable. And second thing is that the kind of valuations they are commanding, right, is incredulous to me. Therefore, although being bullish on the business, I will not invest.
As a big picture investor, you're bullish on agri. And we don't actually talk about this one, but you have a very large stake in Rallis.
Yeah.
Every time I look at Rallis numbers, I'm not impressed.
It has been disappointing. It has been, but companies go through those periods. I am confident between 2006 and 2008, the whole market doubled and Lupin's price went nowhere. And then it went from 700 to 7,000. So the jury is still on. At the moment, it is a vast underperformer. Sometimes I also think about it that, I am confident, hopeful it will perform.
You're confident about Escorts also. The tractor sales are not growing, sir.
No, but it's a matter of time. See, it is the belief and faith in India's growth. Right now that the markets are up, people will say, Rakesh, what he feels is right. Tomorrow markets are down, they will say he's a nut. Right? They go, Jo jeeta wo Sikandar. But my view is forthright. There could be delay, but there ho sakti, andher nahi ho sakti.
So is patience the key? Is patience the key? If somebody...
Is patience the key, and what kind of a risk reward are you talking of? Tomorrow if volumes come and Escort is restructured as a company, which is in the process of being, in my opinion, what kind of returns can you get? So are those returns worthwhile waiting for?
What is the biggest risk for this market now?
See, the biggest risk for India and its market long term is the bomb in Pakistan.
Bomb in Pakistan?
Yeah, because, today if you could go and kill 150 children,
very sad.
Which terrorist, if it comes into their hand, will be afraid to use the bomb? Apart from that, the risk, I think, is delay more than anything else. And of course, another risk also is the way circumstances are panning out internationally. Internationally, there should not be very big unsettled events or, events which are, but I don't think that the events which I'm afraid of the Eurozone.
What is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's big call? Last 3 times you've given me a big call. I want a big call from you.
Big call is be confident. Don't try to time the markets. Invest in SIPs.
Still invest in SIPs?
Yeah, why not? If you invest in SIPs, see the path of the markets since 1983, this index has gone from 100 to 25,000, 27,000. Yes. Path is upward. Don't be smart. I know when it's going to top and bottom. So invest at all stages. And when excesses become very apparent, that time stop investing in cash. But I think that time still is far away.
So if I have to summarize our today's interview, can I safely say that अच्छे दिन नहीं बहुत अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं?
थोड़े अच्छे दिन आ गए हैं, इससे बहुत अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं.
So what is on Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's personal agenda for 2015?
Well, my health, more than anything else.
Any New Year resolutions?
I don't make them because I break them. 2015, I have lost 10 kilos of weight in this year. I have to lose another 10 kilos of weight.
So finally, you have a number in mind. You don't have a number for your wealth. You don't have a number for anything else, but you have a number for weight loss.
Yeah, I have to lose 10 kilos more. I've lost 10 kilos in the last year.
Appreciate your time, sir. Have a wonderful year ahead, and thank you for joining us. That's it on this special show. I'm Nikunj Dalmia signing off.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.